I just wanted to ask if, well, I mean, it's cool like seeing the gains. I mean, you're not like super giga chat like that Duncan guy.
Not yet. I'm working there.
Okay. Yeah, lifting that. What was it? 400 pounds?
Something like that, dude. Who knows? It goes up by 100 pounds from the ass.
Yeah. Do you think you'll ever join that Dr. Mike RP diet app? Because it super worked for me when I did it, but then I ran out of money.
What does the app do, or what's the good thing about the app?
Huh?
I don't even know what the app is. What is it?
So the app is basically just like a macro counter, and you in particular, since you're going to the gym, it just like it kind of like it's not like a keto or anything stupid like.
Oh, is it just for that? My diet stuff is pretty easy because I get like meals that are prepared and shipped to me, and then I drink like a soda, and like everything is like really. And then my breakfast is I measure out using a.
I promise I said I was going to do this kiosk thing, but it's basically. It shows the destruction of our planet. It's kind of time for men. Yeah, people talking, but I have a lot of stuff to go through, and that doesn't seem that important to me right now. Because if you care about the planet, walk outside and pick up some trash.
This next part, I'm gonna
it's nice to be sitting there, yelling, letting our politicians know how much we want them to have a program to clean it up. But these people don't listen to us. They don't listen to the little people. They don't care about climate change. They don't care about hungry babies. They don't care about love is love. They're turning on the LGBTQ and Black Lives Matter and stuff because they realize it's all good until it comes time to their money. Then they don't want to give their money to pay for the things that they did. So yeah, I have a volume here of conspiracy theory stuff. I have nothing but conspiracy theories on here.
Okay, I promise.
Man, do you want to rub abortion into this one as well, or?
And when Justin TV, they used to have it. Justin TV used to have a conspiracy theory channels. They just stream on these documentaries. That's where I got it from. I got this from Justin TV. Before Justin TV had to be, corrected.
Before you hang up, she's absolutely full of shit. But what I mean by that is one day when I have enough money and I'm financially stable.
America, the world's greatest democracy, and at its heart. The vote, the will of the people. But how do you know if the vote is counted correctly? And if you don't know, then what have you got? Democracy? This is the story of a small group of citizens headed by a grandmother from Seattle. They set out on a journey to ask one simple question. How does America count its votes? What they found was secrecy, votes in the trash, and how to change the course of history.
Something broken in the promised land.
So I think for the veganism argument, isn't environmentally beneficial. Yeah, I think it is. I think being vegan is environmentally beneficial over eating meat. But like
there's no way we will allow this to continue.
Back in 2000, Al Gore lost the presidential election in Florida amongst the chaos and arguments over how to recount the votes. But no one thought to ask how the computers originally counted the results. As dusk fell on election night, one official noticed something very strange, a sign that the heart of America's democracy was in danger. In Volusia County, Florida, an election computer counted Al Gore's totals backwards. He had negative votes.
Was showing a minus sign in front of the votes that it had subtracted from Gore. I mean, it wasn't like it was trying to hide it. It says there's minus 16,022 votes.
How could a computer that is supposed to protect the votes of you and me count backwards to give a candidate negative votes? Either it was an error, or someone had tried to rig the election. There was an investigation into the negative votes, and it was established that the problem couldn't have been due to machine failure, because only the totals for the presidential race were affected. It looked like a second memory card may have been loaded onto the computer. Memory cards contain the votes, but this second card had disappeared, so they couldn't check it. The origin of the negative votes was never proved, but some engineers thought that it might have been an attempt to tamper with the election. But no one will ever know for sure. The software that counted those votes was owned by Global Election Systems. In 2002, they were bought by the Diebold Corporation. The software is a trade secret. It's against federal and state law to look inside Diebold's voting machines.
I was the chief technical advisor to the Secretary of State of the largest state in the United States, and I was not allowed to look at the software running in Diebold or any other vendor's voting systems. To this day, I have not been allowed to look at that software.
Software like this is installed in more than 30 states. If someone tampers with it, or it just malfunctions, then the wrong people can win elections. If that happens, hundreds of representatives, judges, and other officials may hold offices they are not elected to. Democrat or Republican, it affects us all. Bev Harris lives in Seattle with her family. A writer, publicist, and grandmother. She knew nothing about computer programming or election systems. But when her county bought a new touchscreen system, she started to ask questions. The answers she got reveal a system in crisis.
You know, I had a life before and I never really envisioned becoming any kind of an activist or advocate. But sometimes something comes into your life and you know, well, if I don't do it, then maybe no one else will, and then maybe I don't want to bequeath that to my children. I put 3 words into a news search engine, voting machines and glitch, and found dozens and dozens of elections that were miscounted by the machines. And about that time, I thought we really...
What Bev had found was that you couldn't necessarily rely on the election results produced by voting machines. In Louisiana, Susan Berniker, a Republican candidate, filmed the proof when she won results on a touchscreen computerized voting system.
This is where I came the day that the warehouses are open to the candidates to inspect. So I came here with an old college buddy. He grabbed his camera, and I asked him to show me how the machine worked. So I just started fooling around with the machine. And it's when I pressed the button next to my name, and then I look down and I see Mr. Gambaluca's name in the display when I press Susan Bernacker.
Shall we do it again?
Do it again.
Yes.
Okay, here we go again. I'm pressing Bernacker. Gambaluca shows up.
So we went down the row. We probably tested 15 machines, and I said, you know what, we don't have to test anymore.
Especially when the ages are like so close. Honestly, what I'm more interested in are the circumstances.
I did chat growing up. I got to hear what he's saying. He's a vegan. He's a health guy.
And I can see
the guy,
America
people that he has, they give good advice. They're health advice people.
Like particular circumstances.
And for a small price,
right? Like if you're telling me, well, clearly the aging center is 14, and then some guy is like 19 years old, and he comes to the United States, and he's like hanging around like high school girls, like desperately trying to pick them up and shit, and like promising them like rides in his car because they're too young or something, and like weird shit like that. And I'd be like, yeah, no. It could just be like a dude meets a girl in line and they both play video games and he's from Chile, he's like 19 and she's 15, and it's like not a big deal to him. It's like, I don't think I care that much. It just depends. But it would depend a lot on the circumstances.
That's essentially like what the thing was, and I don't think they ever met in person, but they were texting you.
Okay, is this the Zero guy or whatever?
Yeah. I think he's like okay now, but I thought it was like something maybe you'd have an interesting explanation.
Cartridge is very important.
Cool. I don't know if you want to talk about this one because I know you and Max are decent friends, and if I'm honest, Abba said probably exactly what I was thinking the entire time on that last conversation between you and Gideon.
Okay.
So it might be a bit harsh, but essentially my question is, do you feel that talking to Max is productive at all? Like I get that he's interesting, but it seems that when you talk to him, he doesn't really have like an interest in listening to yours or anybody else's perspective.
So the thing I would say for Max is Max has a really interesting mind to me, but you have to put in a lot of work to like suck that interest out. I think I'm capable of talking with people that are generally fairly difficult to talk with, and I think that's a gift of mine. Whisper for some of these people. But yeah, Max is definitely can be very complicated to communicate with, for sure.
Well, it's like do you ever watch that one video where the lady, I think her name is Jane Elliott, where she like treats kids differently?
Talking about veganism, do you know cosmic skeptic?
Regardless of what you think
about
of
religion.
it's something that kind of always stuck with me, which was the girl like kept raising her hand. To me, that's kind of like what I think about when Max starts kind of like talking like over everybody. And he's kind of like, oh, well, I have this to say, and it's like, it's kind of like a verbal raising of the hand.
Sure, I can understand you could say that, sure.
And I feel like that happens to you, even the Max
Whisperer,
if you will.
how they work. The companies that make them keep it a secret.
How do you feel about that?
None of the computer scientists thought they could even look at the code.
Where he's just like waiting to say his next thing or whatever?
The certification labs that examine.
Yeah, like sometimes I feel like you'll be making like this awesome point, and then he's just like, he just kind of like brushed to the side what you say, and then he continues to kind of like hammer in on whatever he wanted to say in the first place.
I mean, there's a lot of issues, I think, with his style of communication sometimes.
Really changed my life.
But,
I was looking
I mean,
for
it is
technicians
his
who could
challenges. I have my
answer
challenges.
some
We're all
questions
challenged at the end
And
of the
while I
day.
was looking for technicians, I stumbled upon an obscure webpage.
Well, I mean, my main point is just like,
Predecessor of the medieval election systems page.
I'm wondering if it's productive, but I guess at the end of the day, is anything really
And that link
productive
took
online.
me to.
I take a lot of personal responsibility when I have